What's up, beloved, and welcome to the Bible Study Corner. And today, I just got a little food for thought I want to give you. Now, if you ever read these two books in the Old Testament, you already know who I'm getting ready to talk about here. That person who I'm getting ready to talk about goes by the name of David. David was God's hand-selected king over Israel, and God literally described David as a man after his own heart. Before David had became king, he had a whole lot of obstacles he had to overcome, and one of those obstacles was a man that went by the name of Saul. After Saul kept showing God that he didn't need him, God basically said, okay, Saul, I'm getting sick of this. I'm going to make you a replacement. Get ready to pack your bags, Saul, because I got somebody else that's going to take your spot. Because Saul was basically doing everything he could to try to kill this innocent man, David had to go on the run from King Saul so that way he could stay alive. Literally had the whole nation of Israel hunting an innocent man down who did nothing wrong. Crazy, right? Even wasn't doing anything to the man. He was straight up innocent. And the other part of that is David was actually trying to be a servant to the dude. He did everything he could to please the dude that God placed in charge before him. But here's what stands out to me about that story. Saul had his own issues he had to deal with too. But instead of going to God, he kept going to other prophets, these mediums, and all these other folks because he couldn't hear from God. Now keep in mind, the reason why he couldn't hear from God the way he needed to is because he kept constantly doing things his way. But when David was faced with his challenges, instead of going to other people, he went to God for himself. So unlike King Saul, David allowed the obstacles and challenges that God was allowing to happen to his life to push him closer to God instead of further away from him. King Saul was doing the opposite. So I got a question for you. Which one are you? Are you Saul or are you David? Are you like King Saul, who allowed his issues and fears and challenges to push him further away from God? Or are you like King David, who allowed his issues and challenges and obstacles to pull him further towards God? A lot of us unknowingly do this today. We allow our issues push us away when God's allowing. He's ordained some of these issues to happen to help us draw closer to Him. That's something else that King Saul did. Instead of repenting so that way he can get back on good standings with God and hear God's voice again, he went to other people who he thought could hear God for him, and because of that, it messed him up even worse. And that's something that a lot of us do today. We have the God-given right to hear from God, to have a relationship with His Holy Spirit, but yet we keep going to other people to hear what God has to say to us. I don't know about y'all, but I'm like David. I'm not about to sit around and wait for somebody to come and tell me what God has to say for me. I'm about to go to God for myself. So I ask you again, are you King Saul or are you King David? Choose wisely.